In the annals of ancient history, amidst the shifting sands and nascent civilizations, we find the patriarch Abraham, a figure of immense faith and profound human complexity. His journey, a testament to divine calling, often led him through lands both familiar and foreign, each presenting its own trials and moral quandaries. Abraham, having departed from the fertile plains, embarked upon a new leg of his pilgrimage. He journeyed southward, venturing into the arid expanse of the Negev region, a land of sparse vegetation and nomadic tribes. Here, between the strategic outposts of Kadesh and Shur, he sought a temporary dwelling. His travels eventually brought him to Gerar, a significant city-state ruled by King Abimelech. In this new settlement, Abraham faced the perennial anxieties of a sojourner in a land not his own, anxieties that would soon lead to a familiar and troubling pattern of behavior. It was in Gerar that Abraham once again employed a deceptive stratagem concerning his wife, Sarah. He presented her not as his spouse, but as his sister, a claim that, while possessing a kernel of truth, was fundamentally misleading in its intent. This was not an isolated incident. Indeed, it marked the second recorded instance of Abraham resorting to this very tactic. Earlier, in Egypt, he had similarly misrepresented Sarah's relationship to him, driven by a similar fear. Abraham's motivation for this deception stemmed from a deep-seated apprehension. He feared that the men of Gerar, lacking reverence for the divine and driven by carnal desire, would kill him to possess Sarah, whom he knew to be a woman of remarkable beauty. Unaware of Sarah's true marital status and acting according to the customs of his time, Abimelech, the king of Gerar, took Sarah into his royal household. His actions, though seemingly predatory, were undertaken without knowledge of the sacred bond she shared with Abraham. As the night descended upon Gerar, a profound intervention unfolded. God, the sovereign ruler of all nations, appeared to Abimelech in a dream, a common medium for divine communication in that ancient world. The divine message was stark and unequivocal. Abimelech was warned of impending death. This dire pronouncement was a direct consequence of his unwitting act of taking a married woman, an offense against the divine order. Abimelech, roused from his slumber and deeply troubled, protested his innocence before the Almighty. He pleaded his case, asserting that his actions were undertaken in good faith, without malice or knowledge of wrongdoing. He emphasized that both Abraham and Sarah had explicitly claimed to be siblings, thereby misleading him into believing their relationship was permissible. Abimelech had no reason to doubt their word. Furthermore, Abimelech affirmed that he had not physically approached Sarah. His intentions, though misguided by deception, had not yet culminated in the ultimate transgression, preserving her purity. God, in his infinite justice and discernment, acknowledged Abimelech's good faith and the integrity of his heart. The divine judgment recognized the king's blamelessness in the matter, despite the perilous situation. The Almighty then revealed a crucial detail. It was he who had actively prevented Abimelech from sinning against him. Divine providence had intervened, closing the wombs of Abimelech's household, thereby safeguarding Sarah and preventing the consummation of the king's unwitting error. With the truth laid bare, God issued a clear instruction to Abimelech. He commanded the king to return Sarah to Abraham, her rightful husband, without delay or further transgression. God further declared that Abraham, as a prophet and spokesman, would intercede on Abimelech's behalf. Through Abraham's prayer, the divine wrath would be averted, and the king and his household would be spared. The consequence of disobedience was severe and absolute. Failure to comply with this divine mandate would result in the death of Abimelech and his entire household, a testament to the gravity of the offense and the sanctity of marriage. The morning light brought with it a tense confrontation. Abimelech, having been profoundly shaken by the divine encounter, summoned Abraham to his presence. The king's countenance reflected a mixture of horror and righteous indignation. Abimelech expressed his profound dismay and accused Abraham of bringing immense guilt upon him and his entire kingdom. The patriarch's deception had placed Gerar in a precarious position, risking divine judgment upon them all. He questioned Abraham's motives and actions with a directness born of his recent terrifying experience. "What have you done to us?" Abimelech demanded, seeking an explanation for such a perilous deceit. Abraham, faced with the king's righteous anger and the undeniable truth of his deception, offered his explanation. He reiterated his fear, stating that he believed there was no fear of God in Gerar, and that he would surely be killed for Sarah's sake. He then clarified the nature of his relationship with Sarah, revealing a partial truth that had been withheld. Sarah was indeed his half-sister, the daughter of his father, though not of his mother, making their union permissible under certain ancient customs. Abraham further confessed that this deceptive strategy was not a spontaneous act. He revealed that he had instructed Sarah to present herself as his sister from the very beginning of their journey, a prearranged agreement for their safety. Abimelech, having heard Abraham's explanation and understanding the patriarch's fear, albeit misguided, accepted his account. The king, a man of integrity, sought to rectify the situation and restore honor. In a gesture of reconciliation and generosity, Abimelech provided Abraham with a wealth of gifts. These included livestock, both sheep and oxen, as well as male and female servants, signifying a substantial offering. He also granted Abraham freedom to settle anywhere within his land, offering him security and hospitality. This act demonstrated Abimelech's desire for peace and his respect for Abraham, despite the recent deception. Furthermore, Abimelech gave Sarah 1,000 shekels of silver. This substantial sum served as a vindication of her honor, a public declaration that she was a woman of integrity, and a compensation for the indignity she had suffered. With the human reconciliation achieved, the divine restoration followed. Abraham, in obedience to God's command and in fulfillment of his prophetic role, prayed for Abimelech and his household. In response to Abraham's intercession, God restored health and fertility to Abimelech, his wife, and his maidservants. Their wombs, which had been closed by divine intervention as a protective measure, were now opened, allowing for the continuation of life and lineage.